Hi, welcome to the Bench and Movie Club. I'm Charlie.
My name's Ben.
And this episode we're going to be talking about the 1998 film The Wedding Singer, starring Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. If I want cheering up, it's one of those films you can sit there and relax and think, it'd be nice to sort of find that kind of...
It has got a right nice feel-good feel to it, hasn't it?
And I'm not a huge fan of Adam Sandler. You know, I've watched loads of his films and I've always thought they was okay. But this one, I think, is, for me, it's definitely his best one.
Yeah, I like Click. Click's good. And 50 First Dates is good as well. Do you like 50 First Dates?
It's okay. Loads of his films have gimmicks. So Click is the gimmick of like forwarding, stopping time and stuff.
I think this is his best film, I think.
This feels most grounded, and he doesn't go for the over top laughs. He's not looking for gross out humour all the time, or body. Look at this funny body. Look how fat this person is, or whatever.
I like Just Go With It as well. That's a good one.
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that. Was it with Jennifer Aniston?
No. As I said, there's loads of them. I've watched 50 First Dates was highly recommended to me by yourself, and I think Rosie was going on about it. And
I think Mum likes it.
Yeah, but again, I watch it and I think it's okay. But it's not a film I can watch multiple times.
Well, we will be covering it, so you are going to be watching it again.
Yeah, I'll go on holiday that way. No, but with Wedding Singer, I've watched this film quite a few times, and because it's not nasty, you know, even the so-called villain in it, Glenn, he's not really a villain. He's just like a bit of a douchebag. He's just like a bit of a sort of bloke thinking, it's okay to sort of muck about and stuff.
I got punched in the nose for sticking my face in other people's business.
I see the film as a tragedy.
Why is it a tragedy?
For Glenn. Poor Glenn.
All right.
Because if you think about it, right, so Glenn and Julia, they've been together for a number of years, and you know how blokes try to sort of style things out, I ain't bothered, he could be really in love with her.
He's not in love with her.
And like he's acting as if like, I slept with a girl the other week. I've known loads of blokes who just say that just to impress them.
No.
But look, he's marrying her.
You serious?
He wants to marry her. He wants to go to Vegas and marry her. And all of a sudden this like...
So your ideal ending would have been her and
this little sleaze bag sort of swarming his way in there, singing to her on the plane.
Yeah, right. Well, it'd have been.
She's got the jitters.
I don't think
her mum said so.
I don't think it would have been as successful.
Glenn's a keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. This is why I think it's more grounded, because he's not the sort of villain like twisting his moustache type person.
No.
He's literally just a bit of a knobhead, and that's it. And Robbie Hart is obviously the better match for her because they've got, she's very sort of sweet and like happy, and she likes the idea of being in love and getting married and everything, and so does he. Whereas Glenn is just like a materialistic sort of money bloke he's marrying her because he thinks, she's I got with her before my money, so I know she ain't gonna run out on me.
Yeah.
But I do think he still cares for her.
Yeah, but you're going down the wrong path here. This isn't about. This isn't
for him.
Right. Okay. Luckily for everyone else, that's not the film that was made. The film that was made was, I think it's the first film that I think I see Adam Sandler in. But it's their first collaboration between him and Drew Barrymore, like the first of three. They've got really good on-screen chemistry.
Yeah.
They are like, they really work well together,
She loved working with him. She had a bit of a crush on him. She said apparently she was constantly laughing through the thing. They was making each other laugh.
I think you can see that. I think you can see that they've obviously got a fondness for each other.
Her laughter in the film was apparently taken from all genuine laughter, like in making her laugh and stuff. And
I think this is, out of all films I've seen Drew Barrymore in, I think this is the sweetest she's ever been in a film. I think this character is like the sweetest character she's ever played.
Yeah, it's a sweet little sort of innocent thing. She's
got a right innocence about her, and she looks really lovely in it. It's a really good match. Them two together.
Whereas if you'd seen Adam Sandler's previous films and even the ones after that, they don't always get the woman right with the writing, and that's to thank, didn't you?
Who's that?
Carrie Fisher.
What do you mean?
Carrie Fisher done writing on The Wedding Singer.
Yeah, I've written that in my notes, so you've just stolen that off me. Yeah, she co-wrote it.
Well, I don't know what you wrote,
but she co-wrote it, and she didn't... I don't think she's actually credited for it.
No, because she is a script doctor, or she was a script doctor on many films. But they would bring her in, say projects like this, which Adam Sandler co-created with someone else. He wanted to do a film about a wedding singer getting jilted at the altar. And then another guy who he's working with said, let's set it in the 80s. But it was the female character doesn't, it didn't feel true. So they got in Carrie Fisher, who was a go-to writer. It weren't just they thought, let's get Princess Leia. She's come in and she made her more believable, along with Drew Barrymore's performance, obviously. Was genuine.
Drew Barrymore pitched it. She wanted it. It wasn't that she wasn't his choice, but she wanted to do this role. When she read the script, she wanted this role.
And apparently she didn't want to hear any of the songs until he was actually singing them. Because she liked his songs anyway. She'd heard previous songs that Adam Sandler had done.
So she gets like the first time hearing it, like
so
realism.
Her reaction, say like on the plane, or when he's doing the "Somebody Kill Me" song, that's her genuine reaction.
Oh, all right, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes, the ending of this film. I know I'm not gonna sort of.
There's going to be spoilers. There are spoilers in this. If you're
obviously.
listening to this and you haven't seen the film,
watch the film first.
Yeah, and then listen to this.
But the end of this film is probably one of the nicest endings of a film. It's got a proper it's got a lovely sort of warm kind of feeling to it. You end up like smiling and it gives you a nice feeling inside.
I can't think of another film before this, not filmed in the 80s that is set in the 80s. Like how nowadays you have so many 80s things like Goldbergs and Stranger Things, and there's this big 80s craze.
Yeah.
Because back in the 80s, obviously with Back to the Future, they went back to the 50s. You went back to previous decades.
Yeah.
But I think with this, setting it in the 80s, which it was only 13 years later than when it's set, isn't it? Because it came out in 85 and it was made in... It came out in 98, it was set in 85. I can't think of another film before this that was set in the 80s that wasn't.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I can't think of nothing.
Because now we look at it and think, 80s, all the pop culture things from that time, like the Miami Vice style, Thriller, and all these 80s icons.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, I think you might be right there.
The director, Frank Coraci, who went on to direct other Adam Sandler films,
he must have a closeness then.
Yeah, he was a big fan of John Hughes.
Oh, right,
so that's probably a factor as why he wanted to focus in the 80s as well. Drew Barrymore, she approached Sandler for the film saying that they were cinematic soulmates before they'd even worked together.
Yeah, they do, but some on-screen couples just work. Like before them, and the last ones I remember was like Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. They worked really well together. But then that was such a long time ago. That was like Sleepless in Seattle.
They done 3 films together as well, didn't they?
Yeah. I think two like main well-known ones and one...
Joe versus the Volcano.
Yeah, one not so well-known.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Well, I hope they don't make a sequel though.
No, they won't make a sequel.
Well,
it's finished, isn't it? It's done. What's done is done.
But she has been pushed for it a few times, Drew Barrymore. She's mentioned it a few times. I'd love to do a sequel to Wedding Singer. But you think...
It's perfect. You don't want to touch it.
No, but like I said, a 13-year gap. If there was a sequel, it would be set in 2010.
Yeah.
Who wants to see a film set in 2010?
Hi.
You forgot your jacket in the limo.
Thank you for bringing it back. That's so nice of you.
Yeah, it was. Okay. I'll see you later, all right? Have fun today.
Hey, wait a second. Maybe he can help us. You're the expert on this. We were just having a debate about wedding kisses. I say that it's okay for it to be an open mouth kiss.
And I say that it's the type of occasion where people dress up, so it's not appropriate.
I see.
But what do you want to do? I mean, thin, tight mouth and it's over?
No. Thin, partially opened, no tongues over.
No tongue, please. God, there's got to be a little tongue.
Well, maybe a little tongue. Not porno tongue, church tongue.
Butterfly jean jacket that she wears, and it was actually hers.
Okay.
Drew Barrymore. I can't remember the actress who plays Rosie, the old woman in this.
I don't know her name. I can't think of her name, but she lived to be 101.
Oh, wow. Well, they did want Betty White for the role.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
And the role of Glenn was originally going to be was written for Jim Carrey, which I think it would have been a different film then, because he's too over the top. Even when he reels it in for things like Truman Show,
it would have taken away from it a bit.
It'd be too much. It'd be gurning too much and being too much slapstick. It would have been funny, but it would have been too much sort of on the humour side, not enough on like the romance side.
I think you don't want to take the concentration away from the main two characters, basically, and I think he might have done that a bit.
The other actresses who were up for the role, or that they were considering, now this first one I can't see considering her age at the time, Natalie Portman.
She'd have been too young at the time, wouldn't she?
I thought she'd been about 16. The age gap between her and Adam Sandler would look weird. Jennifer Lopez, Jennifer Aniston, who of course he's done a whole bunch of films with now as well, hasn't he? There was a recent Adam Sandler sort of an award ceremony.
Was she in Friends at the time?
Or Jennifer Aniston, yeah.
Was Friends on at that? Oh yeah, probably 98.
There's a few Friends actors in this, isn't there? Because there's Monica's mum plays Drew Barrymore's mum. The photocopy girl who Ross.
I was going to say that as well. You're nicking all the things I was going to say.
Why don't I just let you say all your things? Right, let me tell the other actresses. Jennifer Garner, Molly Ringwald, which you think, well, if they're doing 80s, that's why they would have gone for Molly Ringwald.
Yeah, she would have been right. Now, I don't think anyone would have beat Drew Barrymore. Like when a film, it's like with Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future, and there's only that's it. You can't have anyone else play them roles.
No, they would have been fine, and we wouldn't be able to picture someone else. And if someone else had said, "Oh, Drew Barrymore," we would have gone, "No, I couldn't really see it." But no, she nailed it.
She did nail it.
Julia Roberts, Diane Lane, Christina Ricci. Again, I think we've been too young. Christina Ricci at the time.
Yeah, she would have been.
Christina Moore, Justine Bateman, Christina Applegate, Cameron Diaz, Elizabeth Hurley, Sarah Jessica Parker, Laurie Loughlin, Heather Graham, Brooke Shields, Katie Holmes, Nicole Kidman, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Jennifer Beals, Lauren Graham, and Pamela Anderson.
All these people was considered for the role.
All considered. Pamela Anderson, definitely not. That's too distracting, like big boobs, Baywatch sort of.
And that would have been in the Baywatch era, wouldn't it? Oh, and as I was... Okay, let me just say, we talk about the Friends people. The one who plays Robbie Hart's wife, the fiancée, that jilted him at the altar, is the photocopy girl in Friends who sleeps with Ross.
That's right,
when Ross and Rachel then split up.
Christine Taylor, who's in this.
Yes.
Who Ben Stiller's wife in real life. She's in Friends, isn't she? She's the one who shaves her head.
Yeah, that's right.
Alexis Arquette, I think he was in Friends. He was in an episode of Friends.
He was in the episode of Friends when Chandler takes Monica to meet his dad.
Yeah.
And
the drag show.
Who's Kathleen Turner, and he's the waitress.
Yeah.
She's the waitress.
John Lovitz was in Friends. He's in
Friends twice. He's the one that's stoned.
Yeah.
He's the one that's
Tartlets.
stoned. Yeah. And also there's Alexis Arquette, who was in Bride of Chucky, Pulp Fiction, Last Exit to Brooklyn. She died at the age of 47 from HIV complications, I think, with heart problems, I think. With all her family around her, and they was holding her and singing the song Starman by David Bowie when she died. Yeah.
See, the thing about... I like this, there's a YouTube channel called Cinema Sins where they say everything wrong with whatever film in 18 minutes less or 15 minutes or less. And they done one for Wedding Singer. So I thought I'd watch this. And it's usually, I don't really take it seriously. I just think, oh, okay, they point out little inaccuracies with the film and stuff like that. But one of the things they gave it a sin for was the character George, played by Alexis Arquette, saying as if, oh look, aren't we supposed to laugh at this man who's different from everyone else? As if the film was sort of picking on him because where he's dressed like Boy George. And I think, I like Cinema Sins, but I think they missed the point with that one, because you're not laughing at him because, oh look, a man shouldn't be dressed as a woman. No one cares that he's dressed like a woman. I think the humour from it is he's a great character anyway.
Brilliant character in it.
But it's also where the film's set in sort of like middle America. And it's at the time in the 80s when you had all the androgynous style with people like Boy George, who of course is based on, and Prince, and all these people dressed like feminine clothes. Loads of middle Americans would have been shocked about it. But what was quite funny is when Boy George first came out, was first on the scene, some men, straight men, thought he was a woman.
Yeah.
Went, oh yeah, she's hot, isn't she? And they even parodied it in Wedding Singer, where it's got Steve Buscemi going, oh, I like her. Yeah, she's nice.
Well, the character identified as both male and female at certain times of their life. So
the character or the actor?
The actor.
The actor. Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
it's hard to sort of keep remembering saying he, she, because I don't know what
but that's
you
why
can't say nowadays without.
Yeah, but that's why Alexis Arquette was so well cast as George, because it's not like a straight actor dressing up in drag for humour. Chances are Alexis Arquette could have turned up to the auditions dressed exactly how he was dressed in Wedding Singer, and he's not dressed in over the top sort of garish things. He's got like, when he's dressed like Boy George, which by the way Boy George loved.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, Boy George absolutely loved his character. Yeah, of him doing Boy George.
So if Boy George can appreciate it and think that's really good, then what have these other people got modern day sensibilities taking offence by it, going, no, that's out of order, they shouldn't have him as a butt of jokes? But every character in it is a butt of a joke. Steve Buscemi, who I think's really funny in this, as the brother of the groom at the beginning who's telling that speech and he's drunk, I think he's hilarious in it. We're laughing at him. We're not laughing at him because he's a drunk or because, you know, he's a man who's possibly slept with a prostitute. It's just a person. He's a character. Yeah. And we laugh at this eclectic group of people at a wedding. And I just think when people get hooked up on stuff like that, it's pretty sad. It's like a modern day sensibilities. Although I did mistake the first few times I watched it. Do you remember when there's the montage where they're looking at like chauffeur driver and the cake and stuff like that?
I always thought, I know what you're going to say.
I thought that was George. Yeah. When he first feeds
when you look at it, you can see it blatantly ain't George, but in my brain, I thought the one at the end, they're all tasting a piece of cake and pass it to the next one. And in my brain, when I thought of it, when I think of that scene, I would have gone, oh, that was George at the end. It definitely, certainly ain't George. Don't look like George.
Because he's in my brain, isn't he? Because George wears the dress that they all approve of.
Right.
He comes out and they're like, yeah, that's the best dress, and he's really happy that he's got the you know. Again, which is a sweet moment. It's not like, oh, let's make fun of a man should be wearing a dress.
I did not see it at all as making fun of him at any point in this film.
I think people who think like that, they're projecting their own sort of prejudice against it.
I think people are quite angry in this day and age, and people look for things to be offended by. You know, I'm not going down that road. Basically, I know what my views are. Basically, it's the individual. It's who you are. Basically, that's what I judge people on, is the person they are. It's not nothing other than that.
Yeah, and the bit where some people go, oh, but look how they're abusing him, tell him to shut up. It's because he's doing the same song again, because he only knows one song. Yeah. So he comes on and he sings the Culture Club song, doesn't he? What is it? Do you really want to hurt me? Yeah. And which is quite funny, because then when he's saying, do you really want to hurt me? And they go, you suck! Abusing him. Now, that could have just been like a woman coming on and singing the same, like Stand By Your Man each time. It would have been still humorous. Yeah. You know, it's not picking on the fact, they're not picking on him because of...
I think people that see this film, that love this film, don't look at it in that way. I don't think anyone does. I think in this day and age, though, I think, you know, I don't know what people think, but you know what? I don't really care, because that's not my generation. I know what I see in things, and if other people want to see other things in it, then that's up to them, but that's not for me to say. Like that, it's not for them to tell me what I can and can't find funny or whatever. What I see in something, other person might not see in it, and I know that when I watch that film, I don't look at any characters in that I think they're taking the piss out of that one. I'm taking the piss out of one. It's just basically it's meant in good humour, which I think people have forgotten about.
It's not nasty.
No, it's not
a nasty film.
It's not nasty at all. No.
It's like one of the people they wanted to cast as Glenn was the actor from Happy Gilmore. Now, I assume you haven't seen Happy Gilmore.
I haven't seen Happy Gilmore, no.
It's a very popular Adam Sandler film prior to this, and there was his most famous villain is this guy called Shooter McGavin, who's this arsehole golf player, but he's too theatrical, over-the-top villain for the part of Glenn, but they wanted him for the part of Glenn at one point. But I'm glad he turned it down, because, again, it would have been too many sort of nasty looks on his face, whereas I like the fact that Glenn's more human. You can sort of think, oh, what
he's a knobhead.
He's a knobhead,
but he's
not nasty.
He's well cast. Actually,
he's not like it's a scene with him pulling like legs off animals or anything like that. He's just sort of going about his own hedonistic sort of lifestyle.
He's just like a bit of a man whore, basically.
Yeah, he's made money, drives in a DeLorean.
He's sleeping around, and that's what he's doing. It's like you know.
But it's not like he's a scene of him beating our show.
Oh no, there's nothing dark about his character. He's just like it's just the character he's playing.
Which is why the film is a tragedy, because you think
don't go
think poor Glenn, he's taken her to Vegas to get married. He's like, what's that knobhead doing? The one who's been sniffing around you. Now he's singing to you. I'm going to beat him up. And everyone sort of... Imagine how you...
You're doing this to wind that girl up, aren't you?
No. I'm thinking, from the point of view of Glenn, right? Thinking, I'm really happy. I'm going to marry her in Vegas. All of a sudden, horse singing orphan.
Do you honestly think this film would have been as successful if that was the case? If it had been a matter
it's
of...
the case. It's
he sang that song to her and she's gone, no, get away from me. I love him. And he's
no, because she was wrong. So he gets... but imagine how you'd feel, chucked in the toilet, and then you have to go and go, no, we didn't get married. This bloke came singing... Everyone chucked me in the toilet and was clapping them two getting together.
Yeah, but he's been sleeping with other people, hasn't he?
Apparently, you never see it.
No, but he has been. He even tells Adam Sandler.
Yeah, he's bragging. He's just making up to act like the big man.
Oh, look, we're going completely off course here. Right, anyway. Right, did you know how much this film cost to be made?
No.
18 million.
How much did it make?
It made 123.3 million.
Wow.
Which is really good. I think that's the highest so far.
This is his breakthrough. I had seen Adam Sandler once before this. I see him in Airheads.
I haven't seen that.
That's him, Brendan Fraser and Steve Buscemi. So I think this is where he met Steve Buscemi, because Steve Buscemi's in loads of his films, does little cameos. And they played like this trio rock band, and Adam Sandler was the drummer.
Right.
So they take a host, or they go barricade themselves into a radio station and make this radio station play their song. But apart from that, I'd known he'd been in things like Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, which my friend Mike made me watch Billy Madison, and I thought, he's just an arsehole in it. He's a right nasty piece of work, Adam Sandler, and you were supposed to laugh along with him. I think so often he does things where he looks like he's being nasty to people, but that's supposed to be the joke.
Right.
Whereas in this, he's not. If anything, in this, he goes over the top to be nice to people.
Yeah.
He's always like he's being sweet to the old woman.
If I sing to Frank without making any mistakes, he would know how hard I worked and how much I still love him after all these years.
I hope 50 years from now, Linda and I are as happy as you two guys.
Oh, you will be. It runs in your family. You're a born romantic, just like your father was.
It was after this that they then thought, right, we've got to do Adam Sandler film every year now, bring it out. He was doing a film a year, and this was actually supposed to be released in 97. But then the studio, New Line Cinema, said, no, let's push it to Valentine's Day.
Do you know what the critics and the audience...
I would say, I'm pretty sure it's fairly popular for an Adam Sandler film, so I'd say about 72%.
Yeah, it's 72%. And the audience...
80.
Yeah, because you've just looked at my page. I'm stupid.
Oh, yeah.
How come you've got the exact? Right, yeah, the critics was 72% and the audience was 80%.
Which I think sounds about right for rom-com. Because so often, especially with critics, they will look at comedies and they will just automatically rate it down because it's a comedy, because it's not taking the format seriously.
Right.
Whereas you'd get a film like Apocalypse Now, I guess, or Godfather, and they'd go, oh yeah, it's so artistic, we need look at the way it's directed. Whereas this, it wouldn't look right if they had these big sweeping like shots of the countryside and stuff like that. You want just to see the action of this, and the pace, the timing, because it's a comedy. You don't want it sort of lingering. Like you said, it's quite fast paced. It goes from one scene to the next one, to the next beat. And him falling for her after his marriage breakdown is believable timing for it. It's very gradual. He finds that he does sort of want to hang out of her more. She sort of bullies him into being her wedding singer and stuff. And then she starts realising after the kiss, like when Christine Taylor gets them to kiss, she starts thinking of him in a different light as well.
And there's a certain bits like when he goes up to tell her and he can see her in her wedding dress and she's saying her name Julia Gulia, which would have been that Glenn's surname, and she's crying and all that. And then she starts going, oh yeah,
Julia
I'm
Hart.
Mrs. Robbie Hart, and she's all smiling at herself in the mirror.
Really happy.
And he looks, and he's obviously thinking that she's
happy about getting married
to the other bloke.
To Glenn. Yeah.
There's loads of little bits like that in it, which I like.
Yeah. First answer, quick as you can, right?
Go on.
How many weddings does he sing at in this?
4?
2. He only sings at 2 weddings.
Does he?
In the whole film. He sings at the very beginning.
I know he does the bar mitzvah.
That's not a wedding.
No, I know that. I'm not counting that. But
Okay.
he does the wedding. It's all in red. That he's
He has the breakdown.
He has the
That's
breakdown.
It. He has the
and the one at the beginning. Oh, right, okay.
There's only the one at the beginning and the one
Oh, right.
He doesn't actually sing at any other weddings apart from them two, because then he says, obviously, I'm not going to sing at weddings.
Of course, yeah.
And he never gets to sing it.
That's because you made me sort of think of it really quickly. That's why I said
but that's the thing. I'm not. Yeah, it's not a trick thing. It's one of those things that if
I thought that
I would have said the same thing.
Yeah.
I would have gone. I don't know, about 4 or 5 weddings, because you do see him singing at the bar mitzvah, which throws you off, doesn't it? But singing at the bar mitzvah, sort of, he's sort of coming back out of his shell, because it's not a wedding. It's not about love. It's just about like this young boy. Yeah. And sweet little moments like that with them dancing. Yeah, if it was released now, I think many people would go, oh, well, you can't have that. You can't have him, like her dancing with the boy and him grabbing her ass, and then Adam Sandler putting the girl's hands on his ass. And you think, but it's not in a sexual way. It's a joke. It's like as if like, oh, you know, we're having fun with these kids, making them come out of their shell or whatever. But people read so much into things nowadays. Again, this was something that was on that cinema sins, thinking, grown-ass man Adam Sandler putting a teenage girl's hands on his bum. This is like disgusting. You think, well, no,
yeah, but I don't think anyone else would look at it like that.
No, but this is
so. What are people looking at? The people that are thinking like that are the ones that's looking into things like that.
Well, this is it's like
so. Really, they're the ones with the problem, because I don't see it. It's not a sexual. I don't.
No, but it's like you said.
I think people read too much into
stuff. Today's mentality, where it's
everyone's
in a race to get offended first. They think, right, as soon as something new's out, my least favourite word, which I don't even consider a real word, is problematic. When people say something's problematic, that means there's nothing technical wrong with it. It's like they'll say, well, I think their relationship is problematic. You go, well, is it illegal? No, it's problematic. It's basically a word people use when they feel uncomfortable about something, but they're not intelligent enough to have a decent argument about it.
The majority of films have lasted the test of time. It's all of a sudden, the last couple of years, everything is under scrutiny. You've got like sort of TV shows from like the 70s and 80s and stuff, and you've got films from like the sort of 60s, 70s, 80s that are being pulled apart, and it's like, are we not allowed to have humour? The thing is, a lot of these films would have been taken out now. If a lot of these films were made, they wouldn't be half as good, because so much stuff would have been edited from them, because it's all to please this world that we're living in at the moment, which I just don't buy.
And I think the point that people miss is characters in all these films are flawed characters. Yeah. They're not meant to be Jesus. It's not meant to be every character's supposed to be really pure and not have any dirty faults and not have anything like slightly... The films that people are most attracted to are films where you have a little sense of superiority over the characters that you're watching. So you're watching a film, you think, what a stupid thing Danny Zuko just done, or what a you know, he doesn't know anything because he's young, and how he's sort of just thinking about sleeping with the chicks and stuff like that. You appreciate it. You can watch it and go, I know people like that. It's funny. It's good to watch them. As long as you know their heart's in the right place, you can forgive them for being stupid. You can forgive them for saying stupid things, which, you know, often in these films, they acknowledge that they're stupid. They acknowledge that they don't know what they're doing, you know.
It seems like these people that are complaining about everything, it's just they're full of so much anger. Yeah. And that's what I don't like about it. It's not even willing to sit down and debate about things, because it's their way. It's like, we're right, you're wrong. And they're so angry. It's so angry that's why, like, when I was sitting there just talking about Alexis Arquette, when I was saying about when she died, although reading up on it, it was a he again. He identified as a man again towards the very end of his life. So it's hard to sort of go he, she, because I don't know if I'm going to be offending someone.
You will.
But I don't mean it in that way. I really don't. Like majority of people in this world do not mean to offend anyone. But it's like you're sitting there second guessing yourself, and you're sitting there thinking, I don't want to offend anyone, and I don't know what to say no more. It's like we're sitting there completely editing ourselves before we're speaking, which is not right. People shouldn't have to sit there editing themselves all the time. Some other facts about the film: Adam Sandler was a real life wedding singer.
Really?
In the past, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And Billy Idol's son inspired him to be in the film because he was a fan of Adam Sandler.
Right.
So that done his career. He said he got when he done more concerts, he got a lot of a younger audience turning up, probably because of the film. It was the Broadway adaptation, picked up 5 Tony nominations. Now,
I really like the soundtrack because I think obviously it captures the 80s. It uses some great 80s songs. I'm going to read off some of the songs. Apart from the 2 which he wrote for it, so there's Somebody Kill Me and Grow Old With You, which are both great songs anyway. So You Spin Me Round Like a Record.
Brilliant.
80s classic. The Kumiza, Rapper's Delight, which of course you got the old woman singing. I said a hip. 99, Luft the Balloons.
Oh yeah, she sings it in German, doesn't she?
Yeah, because, well, the thing is...
It is in German. It's a German song, isn't it?
Yeah, in America, it was big as a German song.
Oh, okay.
It was only this country that we had the English version. Till There Was You, which is just her singing. It was like one of those old songs. Don't Stop Believing. Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?
Yeah.
Of course, sung by Alexis Arquette in this. White Wedding, Billy Idol. Pass the Dutchie.
Yeah.
By Musical Youth. Proper
iconic songs, aren't they?
Boys Don't Cry, The Cure. Yeah, like if you looked up, if you went on Spotify and you put 80s playlist, chances are you'd get all these songs. Holiday. Hold Me Now, the Thompson Twins. It's All I Can Do, The Cars. Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic,
yeah,
Police. Love Stinks.
Yeah.
Too Shy by Kajagoogoo. Ladies' Night. Of course, John Lovitz sings it in this. Every Day I Write the Book, Elvis Costello.
Right.
China Girl.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Love My Way, The Psychedelic Furs. Do You Believe in Love, Huey Lewis in the News. Jam on It. You Make My Dreams, Hall & Oates. Now, the thing is about that, we had a greatest hits of Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of Daryl Hall and John Oates. And I remember the first time I heard that song was in Wedding Singer.
Right.
So that's the bit for the montage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam.
There's a bit with the cake tasting and all that, yeah. And the wedding dress. Yeah.
I remember seeing it in the film, I thought, that's such a feel-good song.
Yeah.
And someone had the soundtrack to The Wedding Singer, and I thought, and it weren't on there.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't know who sang it, I knew it was Hall & Oates. I could tell by the voice and the style. I thought, that's Hall & Oates. And it took me ages to actually find a proper version.
Was it on an album?
Yeah. It's subsequent greatest hits of theirs, you'll find it on there. But the one that we had, it wasn't on there. Blue Monday, New Order.
Yeah, good one.
Private Idaho, the B-52s. Miami Vice theme. Money, That's What I Want.
Yeah.
By the Flying Lizards version. Video Killed the Radio Star, which I think is a really nice way for the film to end as well. It's quite a feel-good song, and it's just a nice little send-off.
I just love the ending of this film. It is just one of them films that it just makes you proper smile. It's a proper feel-good film.
Hungry Heart, Bruce Springsteen. How Soon Is Now, The Smiths. Wake Me Up Before You Go. But I think that's more to do with her singing it. You don't actually hear the song when she goes. And True, sang by Steve Buscemi in this. Yeah. Which I think was like a nice little thing, because where his character was so sort of... The last you see him was at the very beginning, falling off that step.
Right, yeah.
Do you remember when he drops the glass?
Yeah.
Which I thought was really good, like... physical acting to do that, because he looks so relaxed.
That's perfect take.
And the glass, I watched it a couple of times the other night, as he falls and the glass shatters and then he sort of stumbles, and he plays a good drunk in it. Yeah. And it's nice to see.
It's got so many good characters. Yeah. So many good characters.
And I like that character is now, because where he's playing the guitar a bit, he's now got back on his feet. He's now a wedding singer, you know, and he's enjoying himself, and it's nice sort of all the way through it. It's almost everyone gets a happy ending apart from Glenn, of course.
And also Christine Taylor ends up with Robbie Hart's best friend, who he's a really good character as well. Yeah, I like him in it. Like when he dresses up as he's got the Michael Jackson jacket when they go to the party,
the little glove, yeah.
So it just ties up everything. Everything just is...
except for Glenn, which is why it's a tragedy. Because poor Glenn, he sees all this happiness around him.
I'm sure Glenn was okay.
No,
I'm sure Glenn was okay.
He was in Vegas. He drank himself to death.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
In your version.
Poor Glenn.
No, it's a fantastic film, though. Really good film.
And you know what I've noticed as well? There's people who are only on the screen for a few seconds. You automatically recognise them from the film. Like there's the bloke with the long hair. You know, at the beginning where he's got Steve Buscemi, he gives that boy a drink. Now you'd think as if he's a regular character all the way through it. He's only in that one scene. Yeah, and the drunk guy at the bar, the old guy we just said about, he's only in one scene. You know, these people, these great little sort of snapshot characters.
And also when he does the song about Love Stinks, and there's all the characters.
The woman with the sideburns, the fat guy,
and the fun and all the freaks on that table. He says,
I think it's very well cast, and even the supporting cast, they look great. Like the costumes, everything about it.
Yeah, you couldn't change. I don't think you could change if you was to look and go, what would you change? I don't think there'd be anything at all you change.
The chemistry's great in it, and again, if you try to recapture it, it's like doing lightning in a bottle. You can't can't. This is why, one, they shouldn't make a sequel, and this is also why, two, I can't see 50 First Dates or Blended even coming close for me to Wedding Singer, because Wedding Singer just seems like they got it right the first time. It's like your first love almost. You know, like.
But I mean, I do like the other films as well. But this is definitely the ultimate. I think out of the three films, this has got just such a lovely feel to it. This has got everything about it from start to finish. It's just a lovely film, and it's nice, especially when you are feeling a bit sort of down. It just lifts you up.
It does, yeah.
And for that hour and a half, it takes you to a different place where you look and go, life ain't that bad.
And I think how it does that as well is you see Robbie at his lowest. Being dumped at the altar is one of the most devastating things that can happen to you. So then see him going through the depression and then getting dragged up and having the perfect ending, it gives you hope, because you think, well, no matter what I'm going through, I know that kind of thing does happen. Because where it is based in reality, it's not over the top. It's not aliens come down and solve the problem for him. It shows that, you know, in a world of like 8 billion people, whatever it's up to now, there is other people out there. You shouldn't fixate on one person.
And there's points in your life, which we all have been through, and we probably will go through again, where you think it's never going to get any better. This is it. But then you look back, maybe fast forward a year later, and you think, my life has changed around massively. It's like life is literally like a roller coaster.
Yeah,
it's all like dips and sort of highs and lows and spins and
this does it perfectly in like hour and a half.
Why is that funny?
I don't know.
Thanks for listening, and see you soon.
See you soon. Bye bye.